right, the sun's up in Arizona, and I'm feeling like it's starting to get just a little bit warmer. The election is just 16 days away. The outcome is far from certain, as some predict that this state is trending more purple. Right now, I'm in the state's second largest city, Tucson. It's a place that's primarily run by Democrats and has been for years. Just last year, the city elected its first female and first Latina mayor, Regina Romero. She's the daughter of immigrant farmers and grew up in Arizona, eventually becoming not only the first in her family to go to college, the first in her family to vote. Since being elected mayor, she's focused on doing what's best for the city, particularly during the pandemic, at times differing from her Republican governor. Just this week, Romero also took on the president ahead of his rally, warning him to follow the city's COVID restrictions. Mayor Regina Romero joins me now. Mayor, good to meet you in person.
Good morning.
So you and I have had several opportunities to talk during the pandemic, but I want to ask you, because when you and I spoke, you and other mayors had written a letter to the governor, not for a statewide mask mandate, but for permission to impose one in Tucson. You and other mayors were saying, at least if you're not going to do it, at least let us do it.
Yes, absolutely. And what we wanted him to do as the leader of this state is to impose a statewide mandate, because we knew that that would help, according to science, right? But we asked, if he was not going to do it, that he permit us, untie our hands so that we could do it. The governor restricted, preempted cities and towns in Arizona when he called his executive order for a statewide shutdown. And so, we pushed as much as we could. He finally caved after medical professionals, public health officials, doctors, nurses asked him to impose a statewide mandate, and he gave us the permission. He didn't do it himself, but after that, the cases in Arizona went down 75%.
Yeah, so you noticed a big difference. You did things in Tucson. What kind of things did you do that you noticed made a difference here?
We passed immediately an ordinance to make mask wearing mandatory. We kept groups of 50 or less, following the CDC guidelines and restrictions. Work with school districts to keep the schools either hybrid or closed, doing it by internet, and work with Pima County Health Department to make sure that that we educated the community in terms of the locations that had the hot spots in Pima County, and targeted those hot spots with the community, letting them know in this area of Pima County, the city of Tucson, is where we see more incidents, and try to bring them down, try to control it through the zip codes.
Let's talk about the president. He's coming here tomorrow. He is very focused on certain of these states where he won last time, and now polling is indicating that he's running behind Martha McSally, running behind Mark Kelly as well. The president is coming right here back to your city, and he owes you some money.
Yes, he does. He is welcome to the city of Tucson, the second largest city in Arizona, as you said. I like that presidential candidates are paying attention to Arizona, coming to Tucson. But we are asking him two things. We are asking him to observe the mandatory mask ordinances that we have. We do not want a super spreader event in our city. Tucsonans have worked too hard to bring down COVID-19 numbers in our city. And two, that because he is coming here as an unofficial visit, that it is a campaign visit, and that he owes us money from 2016 when he came to Tucson before, used the Tucson Convention Center, a city of Tucson property, and that that the event on Monday will cost us about $50,000 to protect. Don't get me wrong, we want to protect the President of the United States of America. We think that is very important, Ali, but it is not an official visit. It is a campaign visit, and it costs the Tucson taxpayers money, and so we're asking him to pay for his bills.
Let me ask you something as a family, as a child of immigrants. This is a huge issue in this state. Everybody is touched by immigration one way or the other, whether you're in favor of it, whether you're against it, whether you like immigrants but you don't like the drugs, whatever the case is. How would you articulate how Arizonans think about immigration and how this moves forward for them? Because one way or the other, this is a bigger issue for people in Arizona than it is for many in the country.
Yes, we're 45 minutes away from the border. Many families have families here in Arizona and family on the other side of the border in Sonora. My case is a perfect example. And Latinos in Arizona will not forget that President Trump, the first time he ran, he declared his candidacy by insulting Mexican Americans and by insulting immigrants and Latinos. And so we're not going to forget that he called us rapists and murderers. We are not going to forget that he pardoned Joe Arpaio, the sheriff of Maricopa County, that terrorized Latinos in Arizona. And we're not going to forget that he had children in cages 45 minutes away from us. And so, you know, we're very excited to vote this time around. And I think Latinos will make a difference here in Arizona. We will be the electorate that will make a difference in whether President Trump wins or loses. And really, we feel that Pima County and the city of Tucson are a Democratic bastion, and we are really going to show up. We're really excited to vote this election. As you said, we have the opportunity to send our second Democratic senator of Arizona. That hasn't happened in decades. Yeah. And so we're definitely going to make a difference in this election season. The last time that in 2016, Donald Trump won the election here in Arizona only by 3.5 points. And so I feel very confident that Latinos are going to make a big part of turning Arizona blue.
Mayor, good to see you. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for having us in your city.
Thank you so much for coming.
Mayor Regina Romero.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.